Shannon, please help me here. How do you explain what happened in the last 5 minutes of the game last night?
Well, for me, last night was more about the mistakes that the Bucs made as opposed to what Tom Brady did. Give the Bucs credit, the defensive credit, for keeping the New Orleans Saints out of the end zone, Skip. But it was the mistakes, and you saw the mistakes, and it started early. Mark Ingram has an opportunity. Skip, I just can't. I don't even want to talk anymore. I just want to show the people at home the mistakes that led Tom Brady being able to do what he did. Now, look at this. All Mark Ingram has to do is get the first down. He runs out about a yard short. Mark Ingram, what are you doing? And I tweeted, remember that play? Remember that play. That's the difference in winning and losing ball games. That explains why teams lose and some teams win. And he said, well, he had a pulled hamstring. He went to the ground. So you mean to tell me he couldn't get one more yard on a pulled hamstring? And then the throw. Andy Dalton played as well as we've seen Andy Dalton play in a long time. Agreed. And you see, can we see the throw that he made? He made a couple of throws that were sensational last night. Sensational. That he didn't get the results that he need. Not that throw.
That was actually a pretty good D.
That was great defense, but I'm just trying to say, but you throw on third down. Why would you not just run the ball? Why not run the ball and run time off the clock, Dennis Allen? What are you doing here? But if you, Skip, you remember early in the first half, Olave dropped up on third down. That would have got him in field goal range. Right in the hands. You had Jarvis Landry. It would have been a difficult catch. He scored the touchdown. That led to 3 points. And then the throw late in the ball game to Taysom Hill. You can't throw it any better than Andy Dalton threw the ball. And he jarred it loose. Skip, in order for a team to come back like the Bucs did late in a ball game like that, the other team has to do some things that puts them in harm's way. And look, Skip, you can't throw the ball any better than what he threw it. And Neal dislodged the ball. He didn't get an unnecessary roughness penalty. He didn't hit him in his head. He didn't hit him in the neck and shoulder area. Give him credit. But Taysom Hill has to make that catch. Mark Ingram has to get the first down and stay in bounds. So it was more about what the New Orleans Saints didn't do as opposed to what Tampa did do. Because for the first 55 minutes, the Tampa offense barely had a pulse. They had 196 yards before the final two drives. And Tom Brady was frustrated. He was overshooting Julio. He was skipping the passes to receivers. Mike Evans was getting frustrated because he picked Julio on one side, and he had a better shot at Mike Evans at the top of the screen on the other side. Agreed. And so he was getting frustrated. They were getting frustrated. They punted early in the fourth quarter twice, Skip. Once from their own 40, and the boo bird started coming out. So for me, Skip, give Tom his credit. Give the offense their credit because you still have to make those plays. But I believe last night was more about what the Saints didn't do as opposed to what the Bucs did do.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. I cannot disagree with any point you just made. A lot went into what got set up to happen with 5 minutes left in that game. A lot of mistakes were made. I would also suggest to you that if Sean Payton had still been coaching the Saints, they would have gotten that game home.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our man now, Sean Payton, and Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator, and he still coordinates a very good defense. But I think as a CEO, he leaves something to be desired. And he had chances to step on the Bucs' proverbial throat several times. At one point, he had a 4th and 2 early in the fourth quarter. To me, you just go for it. You're up 16-3. You can absolutely drive the stake right through Brady's heart if you go score a touchdown. And now he says, no, we'll play it safe. I'll just lean on my defense. You can't give this guy any more life. You can't give him one last breath. And they did give him one last breath with 5 minutes to go for all the reasons you just detailed. Now, allow me to explain to you why this was Tom Brady's greatest regular season comeback of his career. It was because of degree of difficulty. I have never seen anything like what I just witnessed last night with my own 2 eyes, because to your point, I'm tweeting because I just tweet the truth as I see it. They were hapless and hopeless and overmatched, and to the point that Tom Brady was looking, dare I say, washed. I thought I was going to come in here and have you say, Tom, it's time to go on home. Maybe you can go make amends with Giselle and go back with the kids and the family. I thought we were heading in that direction because the New Orleans Saints absolutely completely, unequivocally own Tom Brady psychologically.
They did.
And I want to drive home the point to our viewers at home, just what has happened to Brady since he became a Buc against his nemesis, New Orleans, within this division, his kryptonite within this division, the New Orleans Saints, because I can look back at 5 regular season games and 55 minutes last night. And guess what Tom was at that point when he took the ball with 5 minutes and whatever it was left in the game, 5:21. When he got the ball, 5:21, and he's down 16-3 at that point. At that point in his career as a Buc against the Saints, he had thrown 7 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Does that sound Brady-esque?
No.
Does that sound goatish to you? No, it does not. And guess what the scores had been of the games at home against the Saints? These are the games in Tampa.
Right.
All of them primetime games on late night television, Sunday or Monday night. Guess what the scores were? You remember the game the first year, the 2020 year? It was 38-3, and Tom Wood 0 touchdowns to 3 interceptions and had a QBR of 4. On a scale of 0 to 100, he had a 4. Last year in December, it's been about a year ago, the Saints go in there and do a 9-0 on Brady and the Bucs, who were about to give the Rams all they wanted in a divisional playoff game, but it was 9-0. And then last night, as I just pointed out, with 55 minutes gone in the game, it's 16-3. So if I add up the cumulative scores of 2 home games and 55 minutes of a third home game, Tom Brady had lost to the Saints 63-6. Help me out. Is that not off the chart? By far, he has had more trouble against this team, even that he has against your Ravens in playoff games, because they've done some numbers on him, but not like this number. Wait, 63-6? It's impossibly bad to where he's got demons. I'm tweeting about how he's flinching, he's seeing ghosts. It's something about the defense because, as you know, they can just flat out rush 4 and get after him. Okay, so he's like gun shy, and he's looking, and he's second guessing himself, and he's sitting over on the bench throwing another tantrum, not at anybody in general. He's just sort of throwing it at the universe.
Well,
you know,
it
like
seemed like
why
last
me?
night he was kind of more frustrated than himself because he knew he left some throws on the field.
All right. So the throws that he made early on. Let's see the back-to-backers because it's in the same series. He's got little Scotty Miller. He fooled him again, and he got a step, and Brady just he just didn't get it there. He just didn't get it. It's not that he doesn't have the arm, because he still got the arm. He just underthrew it. It's maybe a yard short, and it gets broken up because of that. And then he comes right back to the other side to Julio, and he says, I'm going to overcompensate, and I'm going to overthrow him. Right? Okay, those are throws that usually the GOAT makes. Because all he's done is win 7 Super Bowls, and usually on primetime nights, he makes those throws.
The one that he threw to Scotty Miller, he aimed it. If you could tell, look at him. He's like, ooh, I got you.
I'm just going to drop it right down the chimney.
He should have threw the one to Scotty Miller like you threw to Julio.
Okay, I got it. And then it's like overcompensation, and then you overthrow Julio, and now he's losing his mind because he says, this team is in my head. And they didn't. I thought maybe Marshawn Lattimore would be back last night. And he wasn't even back, and Brady still can't find anybody. Okay, and then we got the interception late in the first half.
Demario Dawson fooled him.
Yeah, he just fooled him.
Demario Davis. He fooled him, Skip.
He just didn't see him. If we could see the interception, and it's horrendous. It's just horrendous.
Skip, watch what he does. He checks like he's going to take the back, and then he falls back. Like, I got you, Tommy.
And right into the throwing lane, and he got it.
He got him. He fooled him.
And if they cash a touchdown there, it could be over. It could be over, but the defense held on. So now I've got to give the Tampa Bay defense credit. It has not been great this year, but it's been very good. I got it, but like Pro Football Focus ranks them 18th among defenses, but whatever. Okay, the point is they hung in, and they hung on, and they hung in, and they hung on, and they did some bad things, and they gave up a couple of big plays, but they did a lot of little good things where they hung and hung and hung tough. And yet you've got to hang in enough that good things can start to happen. So again, let's go to that 5:31 mark. Okay, so it's looking bleak, and all of a sudden Brady goes 91 yards in 10 plays. But the turning point play for me, the icebreaker for Brady is 2nd and 20 at New Orleans 45 with 3:10. 3:10 left.
Why are you playing man coverage in this?
He hadn't done anything the whole game. Mike Evans really hasn't done much of anything. And finally, Brady throws a decent deep ball that could have been caught except for the foul that occurred, and it was blatant pass interference.
Skip, what have we learned about Tom Brady? Late in the ball game, what's he going to do? Go back and look at the Rams game last year in the divisional. What did he do, Skip?
Jalen Ramsey.
He's going to take the shot.
To that guy. That's his guy.
That area of the field, all you got to do is study the tape and know Brady's history. He's going to take a shot because he's saying, you know what? Y'all keep on jumping these underneath stuff. Skip, he's nickel and dime you. All he do is setting bait out there for you.
Okay, that's a 44-yard play. And all of a sudden, you gave him a breath. You gave him some life because all he's got is a little 1-yard touchdown pass, right?
Guess what you did, Skip? Because that's a spot foul, now all of a sudden, you've given him 35, 40 seconds that he would have needed to get down there.
Agreed. And it just happened like that. And all of a sudden, I sat back and said, wait a second.
I said this.
Wait a second. Are they? It's going to be 16-10.
Yes.
Oh, 16-10. Okay, defense, what you got, defense? And the defense came up with a big sack, and all of a sudden it goes 3rd and 17 at the Saints' 18-yard line.
Right.
And now the play that you already called up in question, this is the throw to Taysom Hill.
Andy Dalton has never thrown a better pass in his life. Skip, you can't throw it any better.
Can't throw it any better than this.
That thing got GPS tracking on it.
When it hit his hands, I thought game over because they're going to eat clock here. They might just go score even if they got 3 more points. The game is going to be over at that point. And Keanu Neal, once a Dallas Cowboy, late of the Dallas Cowboys, comes over and blows this play up.
Yeah.
And Taysom Hill's pretty tough kid, and I thought he would hang on, and he couldn't hang on.
Because here's the thing, Skip, is that he's catching this ball in the seam. He sees Dean coming. So he's trying to protect it from Dean, but in the process, he turns right into Keanu Neal, who hits him basically on the ball.
Right on the ball, and it was a legal, clean hit.
Legal, clean.
And he got leather.
Yes.
He got good leather and dislodged leather, and I thought it was a game saver.
Keanu Neal, he's known as a thumper, and he thumped him.
All right, so here we go again. Now, all of a sudden, Brady's got the ball back. 2:29 left, and he goes, Julio 5 yards, Godwin 9 yards, Kate Otten, who's starting to come back in the mix with 8, and then hit the quick run to Fournette for 10. And yet, all of a sudden, it comes down to 3rd and 6 at the 27-yard line. This is with 59 seconds left. Mike Evans actually waves out of the game. I don't know if he's gassed. I don't know if something was nagging on him or something.
Probably gassed at that point.
He runs out, and guess who? Little number 10 says, oh, I'm up. And he runs into the huddle. He's kind of late to the huddle, and it's 3rd and 6. This is like a pretty crucial play with under a minute left in the game. And he goes to little Scotty on a little slant and hits him right in the hands with a little rifle shot, and Scotty hangs on to it. Scotty's known to drop these occasionally, and he went up and clutched it into his bosom, and that was that, right? That was a huge play in the game. You could argue it was a game saver to, of all people, little Scotty Miller. Then Julio rises and shines, and this was not Brady's best ball because this is the one ball in the late going that was a little off target because I think he wanted a back shoulder, and now we're down to the touchdown. But if we see the Julio play again before we get to
the one that got down to like the 5?
Yeah, it got down to the 5-yard line. And,
this one.
Here we go. And what a grab it was. That was vintage Julio because it's a little high. It's not a horrible throw, but he made a nice catch. And all of a sudden, it just sets them up. They're sweet to go with it's 1st and goal at the 5-yard line.
Correct.
And then Brady made, to me, at that point, his best throw of the night was to Chris Godwin, right down the gut.
If we see that, Mario Davis.
Yeah, and it was just a laser to Godwin in the back of the end zone. And I thought, he did it again. He pulled it off. And it's a hold on Donovan Smith, who just basically tackled Davenport. And I'm thinking, ball game, because now you're backed all the way up. So now it's 1st and 15 at the 15-yard line, and it's only 15 seconds left. And I'm thinking, well, you can't do this. And he goes quickly. This is vintage Brady because now we're going back to we're still throwing this one. But he throws an out, if we see the out throw that he made to Chris Godwin. And I thought Godwin could have tight-roped the sideline on that.
He didn't realize where he was. He had more.
And I think he's worried about getting out of bounds to stop the clock because the clock is ticking at that point, and he kind of tiptoes up the sidelines. But it still leaves you one last play because it's only 3 seconds left. Okay, so now we're down to, I think we're going to see here we go to Godwin, maybe you could keep going, maybe. But he just said, no, I'm going to take what you gave me here, and I'm going to step right on out of bounds. Right. So all of a sudden, you got 3 seconds left. Well, is this for the game? Is it one shot for the game? And
if you don't get this ball in, you can't run another play.
Okay. And they run a little route on Demario Davis. And I swear, Brady, that somebody said he yelled for 29. He wanted 29 in the game, who's Rashad White, who's a rookie. So you want to get a rookie matched up on still a top 5 linebacker?
But he's probably your best route runner. She said in this situation, instead of experience, I want a better route runner. Leonard Fournette, he's not a route runner.
No.
So that's 245.
But he can body you at the goal line. Sometimes he can just shield you off and kind of wall you off.
I think he trusts White's hands a little more, and plus he's a better route runner.
He's a better route runner. So he runs a nifty little shake and bake route where he gives him a little head fake inside and then just wheels completely to the outside. And Brady had to kind of rise up over an outstretched hand and just dump it to him. And the kid catches it, remember, and they get revenge on Demario, who had victimized him with the interception. And I swear Brady's thinking, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to get him right here with this route. And I'm pretty sure he went to that because he loved getting the matchup because this kid, he's got some quicks to him now that they don't have much quicks. They don't have Antonio Brown anymore. So he's got some of that Antonio. He's got a little bit of that Edelman Amendola stuff where he's got that little in and out.
He ran a little choice route on like, hey, I can sit it down. I'm working back away from you.
And he stretches across and they pull it off. And yet you say, what just happened here? Because I'm looking at what he did. Brady, in the last 2 series, he goes 14-19 for 118 yards. We don't usually do passer rating, but his passer rating was 125 in the last 2 series versus 62 in the previous 55 minutes when he was horrible. Okay, so what happened? Well, he said after the game, we've always been pretty good in the no-huddle 2-minute. And I'm thinking, maybe you should start running it out of the gate,
but it's hard, Skip. You're going to gas your guy.
I got it. But they seem to respond to him better in that circumstance than any other circumstance. And you know what? He's better in it. Now, I'm assuming he's calling most of his own shots from that point on because I don't think you can get plays called.
Well, I mean, you can because once your play is over, you can it starts back. And so Byron couldn't be in his ear. But I'm sure there's Tom in that situation. Tom has plays that he likes, and he just goes with it.
Okay. So Shannon Sharpe, to me, we talked about this at the end of the show yesterday. I thought it was do or die because of the Bucs schedule and because the Saints were coming right up on their heels. Where if the Saints hold on to this, all of a sudden it's only a half-game lead over the Saints, and they have a much more favorable closing schedule than the Bucs. Yet all of a sudden the Bucs separate from them with that big win, and now you can withstand the losses that I think are coming at San Francisco and against Cincinnati. The toss-up game for me for the Bucs is at Kyler. It's on Christmas Eve, right? Okay, so I don't know if they can win that game because they're a 50-50. Like the first 55 minutes, they didn't even look like they'd make the playoffs, right? Okay, so to me, the drive, the comeback, saved the season and maybe made the season because I'm pretty sure now they got a real good shot of winning this division.
But but they don't put fear. Skip again, 17 points. I mean, Skip, if you gave me something, you say, well, that looks like the Bucs are coming. They got 31. They got 34. I mean, Tom Brady offense, Skip, is averaging 18 points a game.
I got it. I'm still going to say this. There's one man to this day in sports I do not bet against, and it's that guy. And he still has a chance. I keep saying, are they going to ever get it together? Remember, they're playing last night without Christian Wirfs at right tackle, and they got 2 new guys at left guard and center. And there's a chance that Ryan Jensen's going to come back. They're still being mysterious about this, but he might come back to play center because he did not have knee surgery. He's got a knee issue, but he did not have surgery to my knowledge. And they are not ruling him out to come back at some point later in this year.
It looks like the 5 seed is going to be either the Eagles or the Cowboys. I don't think the Eagles or the Cowboys are shaking in their boots to play that team.
You're probably right. Except last night, I'm going to remind you again, there's no Cameron Brate because he had some illness or sickness. There was no Antoine Winfield, who's the quarterback of their defense. There was no Mike Edwards.
Skip.
There was no one of the other. Murphy Bunting didn't play.
But Skip, their issues isn't on the defensive side.
I got it.
It's the offensive side. They can't produce points. They struggle. It's a struggle for them to. Think about it. It took them 59 minutes and 57 seconds to get to 17.
Yep, I got it. But in the end, they still have Brady. And I know you don't see it this way, but for me, it's still a privilege to watch this guy operate, because in the history of sports, in the history of me watching team sports, I've never been able to see a guy play at age 45 at this high of a level, because he's still playing on occasion at an extremely high level.
No question.
Right?
It's just harder for him to do it with greater frequency.
He's not doing it with the frequency he used to.
Right.
But it's still hard to write them completely off, because he still looks like Tom Brady. Like, I know you don't watch before the game, but Steve Young was just on ESPN, was just raving about watching him rip throws, 30-yard out routes.
Right.
His arm looks fine to me. His quickness of release still looks fine to me. Does he see ghosts? Does he flinch a little bit more in the pocket? Yeah, he's just trying to stay upright and stay healthy. But if he does stay healthy, they still have the ability to take off as a football team.
Skip, I just haven't seen it from there. I believe their defense, they still have a championship caliber defense, but I have not seen the consistency enough offensively. When you're, Skip, he's 6.4 yards per attempt. That's 31st in the NFL. He's 13th in completion percentage. So even though, Skip, he's nickel and diming, he's still not getting the completion percentage that you would think for someone throwing so short routes.
Yep.
And his QBR, he's just slightly above average. He's 52. That's 20th. That's not Tom Brady.
No, but that was Tom Brady at the end of the game.
Oh, yes. But here's the thing, Skip. I don't believe that the Cowboys will self-inflict themselves, or they'll commit penalties that would keep drives alive. But I do not believe that you'll be able to score 17 points in the playoff game and beat the Eagles or the Cowboys. And that seems to be, that's where it's trending, that's who they're going to play. They'll be the 4 seed, and the loser of the NFC East will be the 5 seed.
Okay. I got one last point and one last bouquet to throw to Todd Bowles. There was another crucial point early in the fourth quarter when Brady wanted to go for it on fourth and 10. It was 4th and 10 in his territory.
Right.
And Brady said, let's just go.
Because he stayed out there.
Well, he's frustrated, and he says, let's just do this. Let's just do it right now, because he felt the game was slipping away. And Todd Bowles completely overruled him, to Todd's credit, because it saved the game.
Yes.
It positioned them to do what they eventually did.
Yes.
So, way to go, Todd Bowles.
A lot of flowers for a lot of folks in that win, guys. It was also a history-making one. Brady passed Peyton Manning for the most fourth-quarter comebacks in NFL history, 44 of them now. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.